Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Work the Crowd podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dougie Fresh, and with me here is Jacob Klucas. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, buddy?
Buddy. Hey, buddy.
Okay,
Yeah. All right. Next conference we're going to cover today. Well, Klucas is going to cover today. I'm just here. Is Big Ten. He's going to break down the Big Ten today.
Keeping on our breaking down a conference a week.
Yep. College football will be here for you know it, folks. Nobody.
We've already had NFL this past Thursday.
Listen, college game day will be on. The weather will be cool in the mornings. You get your coffee. You watch game day at 9 a.m. Life's going to be at peace here in just about
Life's going to be perfect.
3 weeks. Maybe the cool weather might be a little longer, but depending on where you live. Anyways, also after the Big Ten breakdown, we're going to talk about Terry McLaurin and Micah Parsons requesting a trade. That's actually kind of big news for both teams there. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Probably talk about the trades first.
So yeah, let's start off with the trade. So the first one, we'll start off with the first one that started the week off. Terry McLaurin, Commanders wide receiver, demanded a trade this past week, and a lot of people has been kind of just trolling Terry McLaurin. They're like, "Oh, Terry finally has a good quarterback, and now he wants out of there." And all this and that. And I think that's the trolling part of it is exactly what Terry's talking about. Like, listen, I've put up with so much BS with this organization since I've been here without a quarterback, and I've been producing without the quarterback. And now we have one. Now we have a real chance. Now I want to get paid, which is understandable. Somebody that's been through, dragged through the mud, like he has. And then, now that they are good, yeah, should probably pay the guy. And I guess Washington hasn't been meeting Terry McLaurin. They haven't been seeing eye to eye as far as contract wise goes. Terry's kind of seeing all these different wide receivers that have gotten paid, and Terry's now one of them. And I mean, if you look up until last year, if I just go by yardage, okay, now up until last year, he got Jaden Daniels last year, and last year he went for 1,096 and 13 touchdowns. All right. Now, his years prior to that, with an abundance of quarterbacks and an abundance of not so good quarterbacks, he's gone for his rookie year, starting from his rookie year, 919 yards, 118 yards, 1,053, 1,191 yards, and 1,002. So basically, even with the 919 his rookie year, it's basically been a 1,000-yard receiver every year with subpar quarterback play. I mean, yeah, pay the guy. Like, I'm sure, and I don't know specifically. I can't tell you for sure. I'm sure Terry McLaurin's not asking for Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson money, but he's just asking to get paid what he's been due. I mean, the guy has produced. And honestly, when you're looking, I know we could say, Terry McLaurin's one of the top receivers in the league, so he should be producing. But with the quarterback play that he's had, he's kind of overachieved in the statistical column. So, yeah, he deserves to get paid. And if you're Washington, if we're going to be real, like, Debo's not really a number one. And we kind of think we saw that in San Francisco. Brandon Ayuk, for the most part, always looked better up until, obviously last year when Ayuk got hurt. Debo's been the gadget guy. So maybe like scheme-wise and everything, he had gotten more touches and everything. But we all kind of knew Brandon Ayuk was their number one guy. And so if you get rid of Terry McLaurin, you're now putting it onto the shoulders of Debo to try to do even what Terry did last year. And I don't know if he can. And past Debo and Terry, you really don't have much. So if you're Washington, you better figure out. I know he's already asked for the trade, but if you're Washington, you got to figure out. And if I'm Jaden Daniels, I'm going to my front office going, yo, what are we doing here?
Yeah, pay the guy. I need him.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is how dysfunctional organizations kill a young quarterback so early is, Jaden Daniels has a number one guy already walking into the league, which kind of helped last year with his development. Yes, having Dan Quinn, an experienced coach, having, guys like Zach Ertz and everything around him, sure, but still overachieved. But having that number one guy as a safety option is a blessing. So now do you want to kill your quarterback already and leave him with nobody to throw to? Especially you're a Commanders team that, in all honesty, can compete for, I won't say a Super Bowl, but at least a deep NFC playoff run potentially. I don't think they're Super Bowl ready yet, but, they can make a deep run in the AFC in the NFC if they really wanted to. I mean, they just went to the conference championship last year, and they could very well do it again.
Sure.
So why would you not want to capitalize off that? Especially, and this is the other smart things that smart organizations do. When you have your quarterback and you know you have your guy, while he's on his rookie deal, you make sure everybody else gets paid because it's easier when your quarterback is on that minimum deal on their rookie deal. So you make sure everybody gets paid so that way you don't have to worry about this when it's time for the quarterback to get paid. And Washington is just, I don't know what's going on. Now, on the Dallas side of things, I mean, it's the Cowboys. Anything to make the news. I mean, how the guy that has pretty much for the last, I mean, how long has Micah Parsons been in the league? 5 years now? I mean, 4 years? I mean,
yeah, something like that.
The guy has, 5 years. The guy has pretty much single-handedly kept your defense afloat. I mean, he is really the only reason. The Cowboys, I believe, had one good year where they were really good defensively in the Micah Parsons time span. Outside of that, they've been average to below average. And the only reason they had even been average is because of Micah Parsons. So why are we at a point now where you don't want to pay one of the top 10, 15 players in the league? I mean, you especially when you just paid Dak Prescott and it turned around and he got hurt. So now, and I know that's what Dallas is trying to use. They're like, oh, well, Micah's been hurt. We just did this last year with Dak where we paid him and he got hurt and he didn't play. Listen, that's the nature of the game. It happens.
Part of it, yeah.
Like, there's nothing more that you can't really do much about that. But, I mean, but still, yeah, he got hurt. But outside of that, Micah's played. Rookie year, played 16 out of 16 games. Then the next year's when they moved to the 17 games. He played 17 games, Last year was the first year he had not played all 17 games. And he played 13. So he still played a majority of your games. And that's a guy that should be a guy like Micah Parsons on your team should be a no-brainer you pay. There shouldn't even be a question that you pay. But because Jerry Jones is stuck in his ways, he's going to lose out on Micah Parsons now. And what is that going to do? So Dallas, to me, already was only maximum an 8-win teams this year. Losing Micah Parsons drops them to 5-7 wins for me.
Really? You think he makes that much of a difference?
I mean, yeah. Because you got to think about the teams that you're going to play. You still got to make – like, you can do whatever on offense with Dak and CD and Pickens now, but you still got to be able to make stops. Sure. You get in shootouts. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, Dak Prescott is not my quarterback I want in a shootout because that means I have to trust him at the end of the game. And I'm sorry, as I like Dak more than most people, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I like him in tight game situations. So yeah, I don't understand what's going on specifically in the NFC East. And the other thing for Washington, even, you have to remember the NFC East is cursed. Teams haven't won back-to-back in the NFC East since, 2002? So, theoretically, if we're going off just the curse alone, Washington is in the best shape to dethrone Philly this year, to take that title. Why are we going to ruin that by just letting Terry McLaurin walk? So, but in saying that, you know me, I like to have a little fun with it. So I came up with, for both Micah and Terry McLaurin, some destinations. If I can get this to pull up. Here we go.
Yeah, while you're pulling that up, I was looking up on Terry's side. I was looking to see, because you mentioned he's like not asking for Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase money. And it said that he's looking for something around $30 million, like they gave DK Metcalf in Pittsburgh, which that's where he should probably be. It's around that $30 million range.
So here we go. So for Terry McLaurin, when trying to pick destinations, I don't like to just make a straight, okay, this is the best team this is the best team for him to go to. I like to break it down in categories. So start with Terry McLaurin. So some of these top teams are the best chance to win. So best out of the 7 teams that I picked for Terry McLaurin, the Ravens and the Chargers give him the 2 best chances to kind of just still be a winner. They can pay him, or they may not be able to pay him this year, or maybe wait and see. They may be able to pay him, but this gives him the best chance. I would love to see him go to Baltimore and give Lamar a legit number 1 wide receiver.
Be awesome.
I would absolutely love it. Justin Herbert, it could use another wide receiver. You pair Terry McLaurin alongside with Ladd McConkey. Now you have, Hampton and Najee Harris, and you have now a little bit more offense to go off of for the Chargers. Next chance is your best chance to get paid. This is where you can make your maximum amount of money if you possibly want. So that would be the Patriots, Titans, or Raiders. Patriots, you go to a similar situation you're kind of with Washington minus the winning side, but you're going to a young quarterback, same draft class, and you get to work with him, and you get to work with Stephon Diggs, so you're not the only wide receiver out there. Titans, obviously, Cam Ward could use another wide receiver to continue with his development. The Raiders is kind of an interesting situation because you can still win, not win like big, like playoff games and stuff, but you could still win with the Raiders while giving them a true number one alongside with Geno and Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers. And then the hometown or best friend deal for Terry McLaurin is the Indianapolis Colts. He's from Indy. That's where, he was born and raised. So do I think that the Colts will probably pull a trigger on Terry McLaurin? No. But if there was a hometown team / best friend type deal for Terry McLaurin, it would be the Indianapolis Colts. Micah Parsons, so same categories. Best chance to win. Packers, Broncos, Bucks. I think if he were to go to either one of those three teams, it instantly boosts them in the Super Bowl conversation. Because I think the Packers are primed to have a really good year. I think, obviously, the Broncos, Bo Nix, second year with Sean Payton. Tampa's kind of always just been right there as is. But now Tampa adds re-signing Chris Godwin. He's healthy. You add Emeka Egbuka in the draft. You have, second year of Bucky Irving. You've got your running back. And now if you could add a Micah Parsons to your defense, it changes a lot of things for Tampa. Best chance to get paid, Patriots and Cardinals. I think they have a lot of salary. Both teams are, I believe, top 3 or 5 in salary cap. So you could go there and you can have your best chance to get your most amount of money. And then your hometown team / best friend deal. Listen, we know Micah Parsons and CJ Stroud are pretty close. So I think if he were to say, hey, I want to go play with CJ, I could see that. So that would be my hometown deal. The other hometown team is Philly, but there is unless Jerry Jones is just the dumbest man in the world, there is absolutely no chance that either that A, you're going to trade within division, or B, trade from Cowboys to Philly. So right. Now, unless Philly came with a deal that you absolutely just, compared to the other teams, Philly clearly has the better deal. Maybe, but even then it would make me go, fuck no, I'm not trying to play this guy twice a year. So I don't think the Eagles are realistic, but the Texans, like I said, with CJ Stroud, he's close with CJ. I could see where he would say, and plus the potential, I don't know what the Texans would have to give up, but you could pair Micah Parsons next to Will Anderson Jr., and that is your pass rush. Makes me scared as a Colts fan.
No kidding.
But yeah, the Packers, Broncos, Bucks, I think if he goes to either one of those, it instantly boosts their Super Bowl chances. But yeah, so now I'll get rid of that. But there is a trade proposal I saw, Doug, and I want you to put on your GM cap, okay?
Okay.
And I want you to tell me if you are any of these, or if you're these three teams, are you making this deal? All right. So the first one, so this is a 3-team deal. Okay. So this is between the Patriots, the Cowboys, and the Commanders. So the Patriots out of this deal get Micah Parsons and Terry McLaurin.
Okay.
All right. The Dallas Cowboys would get, now these all come from New England. All the outgoing comes from New England. The Cowboys would get a 2026 first, a 2027 first, a conditional 4th-round pick that could turn into a 3rd-round pick based on, if Micah makes, first team all defense, all that kind of stuff. Kind of like when the Colts had the Carson Wentz deal, if they make the playoffs, it's a 2nd-round pick. If they don't, all that. And then Keon White, who was a rookie last year for the Patriots, a rookie pass rusher. Okay. And the Commanders would get a 2026 2nd-round pick and Kendrick Bourne, which realistically for Terry, no matter who you trade, you're not getting any more than a 2nd. So, but So a 3-team mega deal where obviously the Patriots are the end-all be-all winners. But if you're any of these 3 teams, do you do this? Obviously, you do it if you're the Patriots. But
if you're the Patriots, yeah, absolutely. But I could see an argument for Dallas getting so many picks like that. You get to rebuild a little bit. You can rebuild the defense, get somebody in there that is happy and wants to play. And you can do whatever you want with it. If they want to draft somebody else offensively, they can. But if I'm the Commanders, though, I don't do that. I think you kind of lose too much. I know you're getting second round pick, but I don't know if I think he's been too consistent. McLaurin's been too consistent, and you're ruining the bond he has already with Daniels, with Jaden Daniels. So it's like, why you already went, like you said, you went to an NFC Championship game. Why try and trade now? I guess if there's no other choice, like Terry's like, look, we can't get the money, like the money's not right. I won't play. And they're like, okay, well then I guess they'll have to. And getting a second round pick is better than nothing. Kendrick Bourne, I'm not too familiar with him, but he's not gonna fill the gap that Terry did. So yeah, so I just don't think. But now if the Patriots can pull that off, I mean that's like
my argument
scenario
for this trade would be, if I'm Dallas, and this is just how valuable Micah really is. I would argue almost one more first.
So 3 first round picks. Are you saying 3 years in a row, 26, 27, 28?
Well, maybe not 3 years in a row,
but at least another one.
But another first round pick. So
I
say that. So this was because this is what this kind of reminds me of is the when the Raiders traded Khalil Mack.
Yeah, similar.
So, but now the Raiders didn't get 3 first out of this. So the trade for Khalil Mack was the Bears got Khalil Mack. Now the Bears somehow fleeced the Raiders on this. I'm not sure how they managed to do this, but the Bears got Khalil Mack, a second round pick, which ended up being Cole Kmet. So you got good value out of that. And then a 7th round pick. The Raiders in return got 2 first, which turned into Josh Jacobs and Damon Arnett, a 6 and a 3rd. So I don't know. Maybe the 2. I could see. I would almost want that 3rd round if I don't get the extra first in that deal where I said originally. I would want that conditional to be a 3rd, not a 4th. I'd want the conditional to be maybe a 2027 since the Commanders are taking your 2026 second. I would want the conditional to be a 3rd round to turn into a 2nd round pick potentially. And then Keon White, it's just a plug and play potential. If he hits, he hits. It's kind of like just drafting a rookie and just at that point for them. But if you're the Patriots, I think you instantly, I would almost argue, I think the Patriots right now are anywhere between 7 to 10 wins this year, like 10 on the high side, 7 on the low side. I think if if they managed to do this and they got Terry McLaurin and Micah Parsons, I think you're sitting more on that. Okay, now we're looking at 8 to 9 wins on the low side and 10, 11 on the high side.
Yeah, that feels,
because you instantly improve your defense, you instantly improve your offense. So
the unknown of the first year head coach thing, like with him going to a new team. I know he's proven himself other places,
right? I was gonna say at the end of the day, it's Vrabel. So,
but there's still that unknown. And Drake, man, I know he's probably gonna be solid, but that's still a little bit of an unknown too. Like Jaden Daniels, is gonna be a stud. Like if I'm Washington, like he's already good. He's already went to an NFC Championship game. I have to do everything I can to try and keep Terry McLaurin on my team for that consistent target for Jaden.
Yeah, and Debo, and if you want to play Debo's been hurt the last couple of years, so I don't want to take my chances of now riding with Debo and then he gets hurt. Now what? So
yeah.
I think if you're both teams, you got to do whatever you can to try to fix this, like in terms of make your guys happy and get them to stay. But I think if you're in these situations we've seen too many times, the longer you wait, the less value these players have. So if these players are dead set on they're done, they don't want to do this, which I think Micah is. I think Terry can still be swayed one way or another.
Yeah, I think so.
But Micah, I think, is for sure done. But I think Terry can still be swayed. If you can sway him, I would do everything you possibly can, pull out everything, that you possibly can, and make sure that he is still a Washington Commander going into this season. But if not, if he's dead set on leaving, get him out of the building as soon as possible. You don't want this distraction, for one. You don't want this to be an ongoing thing. Get somebody in there, and especially if you end up getting another wide receiver in return, you want to get that wide receiver in and get him reps with Jaden Daniels as quick as possible.
Right.
So,
very true.
But yeah, again, for Washington's sake, I hope they fix it with Terry. Dallas, listen, I'm never gonna argue with the crumble of the Dallas Cowboys. Especially something like this just eases back into my theory from a couple weeks ago of Dallas is bad, Nick Saban's coming in. So I kind of hope that this happens and just stays like that.
We'll see.
So moving on to college football side, Big Ten breakdown. And this is really my expertise of this conference, being the Ohio State fan. Doug being a secondary Ohio State fan, newly secondary Ohio State fan from a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, I'm just honorary.
Yeah, honorary Ohio State fan from going to sitting in the snow for Ohio State, Indiana.
Fun game. I mean,
hey, we got to watch
they do it different.
The Marvin Harrison catch was insane that game.
That was insane.
All right, so here we go. Same as the ACC from last week. Same breakdown. So just going from the top. I have Ohio State going undefeated. I think they beat Texas in the season opener. Now, the tough games for them that we'll have to watch out for is at Washington, at Illinois, and then obviously the game at the end of the year at Michigan. And I know people are going to go, well, what about Penn State? Ohio State's own Penn State. I'm not worried about Penn State.
What about Texas?
Nah, I'm not really worried about Texas. Like, I mean, I am.
But that's tough.
I am, but I'm not. Because here's my thing. And so everybody's going to go, well, new quarterback at Ohio State. Okay. So what situation outside of maybe Texas, what situation in the country is better suited to implement a new quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I would say they're in prime spot for that, for sure.
You have Ryan Day, who's one of the best offensive minds in college football, if not the best. You have Brian Hartline taking over as OC, who has assembled the Avengers at the wide receiving corps for you every year. All right, including Thanos, who wears number 4, and Jeremiah Smith, the best college football player in the country. All right, Carnell Tate is a potential first-round draft pick wide receiver in 2026. Brandon Ennis is a potential first-round draft pick in 2026 or 2027. All right, you have a lot in that receiving room. You add in Max Clark at tight end, who was one of the better tight ends in the country, transferring from Purdue last year. This is the first time Ohio State has had a NFL caliber tight end, like, a high caliber tight end in a while. And you're going to hear me say this a lot of times, especially like when we get into the NFL talks. The one piece outside of Jeremiah Smith, obviously, but the one piece, if you want to develop a really good, a quarterback and ease him in and, get him going, have a really good tight end, because tight ends are security blankets for quarterbacks. And I think, obviously, having Jeremiah Smith, you don't have to do much to get him the ball because you just got to throw it in his direction. But having Jeremiah Smith and then having a good tight end as a safety blanket, I think is going to make things a lot easier for, I'm going to say Julian Sayin, because I'm pretty confident that that's who the quarterback is going to be. Even though they've said Lincoln Keenholz has had really good camps, I do think at the end of the day, it's Sayin at the end of the day. So, but yeah, I think Texas has a lot. People talk about Ohio State's got a lot to replace. Texas is essentially replacing their entire offensive line. And you're going to have to, I get it, it's Arch. I don't believe in all the hype in Arch Manning. I've never truly believed in all the hype. I think he's very good. I think he's going to be good. But as of right now, and at this moment, I think we've overhyped Arch Manning a little bit. So he's going to have a new O-line to break in. They've really got some new receivers because, you lose Matthew Golden, you lose Isaiah Bond. So you're kind of breaking in new receivers who are now in positions they haven't been in, in a while, since high school. So they've got a lot to deal, and they're going to be on the road. They've got a lot to deal with themselves. And I think Ohio State, coming off of a national championship, yes, they have a lot to replace, but, they've kind of been there, done that with replacing these guys. And again, when you have Jeremiah Smith, Max Clark as security blankets for a new quarterback, I think it makes the transition process a lot easier for said quarterback. So, and also it helps when your defense is going to be really good too, because you not only have the best player in the country at wide receiver, you have the second best player in the country playing defense for you in Caleb Downs. So, who can make up for a lot of mistakes. So, I have Ohio State again. The Washington, Illinois, and Michigan game are kind of on my radar as games to watch out for. I do think they do finally get their get back against Michigan this year. But the Illinois and Washington games scare me a little bit more than just the Michigan game, I'll say, because both those teams are really good. And again, there is still the worries of a young quarterback potentially. So those games kind of worry me a little bit, but I think they do prevail at the end of the day. They go 12-0. Nebraska is my team this year that I'm picking, kind of like Indiana from last year, where they make the playoff and kind of surprise a lot of people.
Okay, Nebraska. All right.
I think they go 11-1, which we saw last year with Indiana. They lost to Ohio State, didn't keep them out of the playoff. I don't think a loss in Week 14 against Penn State would keep Nebraska out of the playoff. Now, in this scenario, I would have Ohio State and Nebraska playing in the Big Ten Championship. So even if they lost in the Big Ten Championship, I don't think a Week 14 loss at Penn State and then a loss to Ohio State. Now, unless they just get absolutely obliterated at Penn State and then in the Big Ten title game against Ohio State, I don't even think even the two losses right there would keep Nebraska out of a playoff situation. So I would have Nebraska going 11-1. Now the true test for them is going to be early, as how can they play that Week 4 matchup against Michigan, but it is at home. So I think being at home helps that a little bit. So outside of that, Nebraska's schedule is very, very easy. So really all their tough games that they're going to play outside of that Penn State game is at home. So I think that helps. Dylan Raiola is a very talented quarterback. Matt Rule's in his second year at Nebraska. I think Nebraska is primed to make a playoff spot this year and be kind of like that Indiana team this year. Penn State, I've got going 11-1. I think they lose to Ohio State, and that's really it. After that, they'll be a very good football team. Illinois is at 10-2. I have them losing against Ohio State and then on the road at Washington. Outside of that, I think Illinois is a very good football team with a very good quarterback in Luke Altmaier. So Michigan, I have going 9-3, 7-2 in the Big Ten. I do think they lose early at Oklahoma. I think, they're breaking in a new quarterback, a couple new receivers. Their defense will be still very good, but, offensive line will be a little shaky. And I think an early season trip to Oklahoma against an experienced quarterback, I know he's transferring in, so he's still learning Oklahoma, but against an experienced quarterback over on the other side, I would take Oklahoma in that matchup. And then I had them losing to Nebraska and then Ohio State to end the year, 9-3. Oregon 10-2.
I think a game to watch on that one is at USC as well.
Yeah, could be a very good game. I kind of went back and forth on that one, but I think by this time is where you'll start to see Michigan start to get their, get the legs under them.
Yep.
Oregon 10-2, Washington 10-2. And then you move on. USC 8-4, Indiana 8-4. I had a tough time with Indiana because I do really like Indiana, but I think Illinois at Iowa is kind of a trap game for them. Illinois at home, I mean that could be a very much so a win that could flip them to 9-3. I think going to Oregon is obviously not easy, and then to Penn State, their schedule is just not as favorable as it was last year for them. That's the only downfall for Indiana this year. Minnesota's a sneaky good team this year. And then obviously you see the rest of these. And then you see all the way at the bottom, Northwestern and Purdue's at 0-9, 2-10. So, but again, this kind of just go through like even the 5 and 7, like the Marylands and the Michigan State and even the UCLA's. If it wasn't for the fact that they're playing in the Big Ten, these are good football teams.
Yeah.
But because they're gonna all have to beat up on each other, it is what it is. This is how it pans out. But so in saying that, so I'll kind of click out of this, I'll go back to it, but bring it back. All right, I kind of been doing this. I didn't start it last week, but I did this week, where I'm going to start keeping a tally on here for everybody. So right here, so far, just based on who I have winning a conference and or, just essentially, based off their resume and everything, locks for the college football playoff as of right now, we've only been through 2 conferences. So I have Clemson winning the ACC, so they would be a lock into the playoffs. Ohio State, I think, ends up winning the Big Ten, so they would be a lock. And I still think Penn State and, again, Nebraska would be the 2 locks out of the Big Ten, with your iffies on, just depending on, how everything else shapes up. SMU and the ACC, and then out of the Big Ten, Illinois, Oregon, Washington. Could all 3 potentially make it? Possibly. But we'll see how everything else pans out. So I'm kind of doing that as kind of just like a showing as we go through each conference and everything, like, who could make a playoff just based off their resume, who, and then who's pretty much a lock. So, but I will go back to this because I want your takes, Doug, on if you see anything.
Well, I was going to bring up, so for a Big Ten title game, you got Ohio State, who? Penn State?
Nebraska? Ohio State, Nebraska. Because if you go into it at this point, so at 11-1, Penn State 11-1, Nebraska would hold the tiebreaker over Penn State. Or sorry, actually, Penn State would hold. So it would be Penn State.
I think it'd be, yeah.
It'd be Penn State, Ohio State.
Okay.
And the Big Ten title with, again, I think 1 loss to Penn State does not keep Nebraska out of a playoff. So.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, so I mean, again, Ohio State, I think, goes undefeated. And here's the thing, even if they lose an early season matchup to Texas, it's not a bad loss, obviously. Those are your 2 arguably top teams in the country. So I think Ohio State made the playoffs last year at 10-2. So 10-2, especially in a conference like this, 10-2, you're sitting pretty still for a playoff spot.
Yeah, Big Ten's stacked, man. There's a lot, like you were saying, there's a lot of good teams this year. And you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even probably 10 teams, including USC and Indiana, who are really good football teams. It just sucks that they got to play in the Big Ten, like you said.
Yeah, like I said, we're talking all the way up to Washington. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. You're talking 7 teams that all have chances to make the playoffs out of one conference. And listen, the SEC is kind of the same way.
Yeah, Big Ten SEC. Woo.
But yeah, this is just the nature of the beast. Like these teams are loaded. And like we've already alluded to, your USC, your Indianas, your Minnesotas of the world, still very good football teams. And they'll get a chance to show that in the bowl games for those who watch those bowl games. But they're just the fact that they have to play in the Big Ten is just unfortunate for them. So, And it's really just going to go down to every year, who gets the Indiana, who gets, this year I have Nebraska, who gets that treatment of who just gets lucky to have the easy schedule is really where your opportunity is going to come in, because, not everybody can be Ohio State.
Fair enough.
Hey, what did I read you? What did Josh Pat say? Oh, let's see. Do I still have the tweet pulled up right here? I'll lose it, so I don't try not to scroll too far up. Yep. When you're Ohio State, you'll never have the toughest schedule in the Big Ten because you can't play yourself.
Yep.
Bar.
Spoken like a true Ohio State fan.
Bar. But yeah, again, I even from a non-biased standpoint, like I said, with Ohio State,
no, that's probably right.
The Texas game is obviously something to worry about. Again, at Washington, at Illinois, and then obviously the game at the end of the year, based on how it's gone recently, is something to worry about. But I trust that the talent at Ohio State can overcome a lot of these games. And also, we keep talking about Julian Sayin, being a new quarterback. Let's not act like Julian Sayin's just some scrub. This is a former number 1 overall quarterback in his class, 5-star, went to Alabama originally. When Saban retired, he re-entered the transfer portal. And from everything I read, so out of all the schools he could have gone to, because he could have transferred anywhere and essentially started year 1, he called Ohio State and said, I want to come there. And they made room for him. And so having that and knowing that you're a 5-star guy that could have went anywhere and played right away. First, you chose Alabama, knowing you probably weren't going to play right away. Then you chose Ohio State, still knowing you're not going to play right away. That tells me you've got dog in you. because that means you're telling me I want to be the best I possibly can by surrounding myself around the best people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he wants to win. That's clear as day.
So I think, sure, will it be shaky? Probably a little bit for the first couple games, maybe.
Oh,
absolutely. Sure. It was with Will Howard last year. It wasn't pretty with Will Howard first couple games,
right?
But we saw what the end result was. So I think by the end of the year, we're going to see a Julian saying that's going to have a lot of people going, because he's not eligible this year. He's going to have a lot of people going, oh my God, we may have another first round talent at quarterback coming from Ohio State.
Yeah, I'll be watching him. So I'm excited to watch him play this year. I mean, we should be going to that Ohio State-Texas game. But
should be.
It's all right.
But yeah, so that's the Big Ten breakdown next week. You can see we'll do Big 12. We'll follow up with the SEC, and then we'll do overall CFP breakdowns, and then predictions to win everything. So I'm excited. We're so close to football. I can taste it, Doug.
Well, it's not quite here yet. So I want to bring something up about the WNBA.
Oh boy.
If you've lived under a rock, there's been some foreign objects being thrown on the court during games.
I have not.
Patrick Star style?
I've seen it.
Dildos, folks. Just throwing dildos on the court. What are we doing here?
Dildos on the court at WNBA games. It's absolutely insane. So here's what I really want to know. Is what kind of security does the WNBA have at these games?
Yeah, they got to check people's bags.
Because how are these people getting in?
The dildo.
You're not missing the giant green dildo that's been thrown on the court twice.
Yeah.
All right. So unless these people are, excuse my language, shoving them up their ass and bringing them into the game.
Whoa.
How are you getting through? That's what I want to know. Like that's the only
Security's in on it, dude. Security's in on it.
But now this has gone so far because it's happened twice, where now on certain betting sites, you can now bet on what the next color will be. So it's been green twice. Whether this is actually real or not,
I have it pulled up. If you want me to go through it,
yeah. Well, I've got it right here too. So black or brown is plus 200. Rainbow color, which is insane, plus 200. White Caucasian plus 250. Pink plus 300, purple plus 325, and then blue plus 1400.
Give me the pink. I'm taking the pink.
I'm taking purple.
Yeah, I'm going pink.
I think purple's the next color. Now, if you're a betting guy, some people will just go, oh, they're just going to stick with the same color and just keep going green. But I'm going to be a little different and do.
I want to win some money.
I'm going to do purple. Now, I say this. I'm not advocating for people to show up to WNBA games and throw a damn dildo.
Yeah, quit throwing
on the court.
Like that.
That is absolutely insane. It's animal behavior is what it really is at the end of the day. We don't go to games to do this. All right. And this is kind of what
watch Caitlin Clark play.
This is kind of what people are talking about with the disrespect of the WNBA, where you all would maybe do this one time as and it would be some idiot, some drunk idiot doing it at an NBA game. You wouldn't do this at an NBA game.
No.
And this is kind of where the WNBA and the females of the WNBA is coming out, going, this is where we get disrespected, is because you're doing this stuff and you all think it's funny. The thing is, if it happened one time, okay, whatever. It's a one-time thing. Get over it. Whatever, it happens. It's happened twice now. It's starting to become a pattern, which means you're doing it on purpose, and stop it. It's not acceptable behavior. So, as funny as it is to vote on the next color dildo that's going to be thrown, on a serious note, don't throw dildos on the court.
Yeah. All right. So switching gears again, you sent this in our group message. There was a tweet. You won't say the guy's name. Well, now you know it's a guy. So whatever. He says it's about college football. He says college football means you go to college. If you still watch after that, you never grew up. And I've never in my life seen something so absurd. That's just dumb.
Yeah.
How do you think these colleges make money?
Well, and it's not only that. It's also, these are the same people that try to make that go on and make tweets and stuff that go, if you didn't attend that college, you shouldn't be rooting for that college. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's dumb.
If you're not in college and you're still watching, you've just never grown up. Dude, shut up. It's sport. You could tell this guy doesn't watch sports at all.
Oh, clearly.
And so
his team sucks.
Yeah, this guy's a Purdue football fan or something. Because
Shots fired at Purdue.
I mean, but like, come on now. That's an asinine statement to make.
Yeah. Man, Clues pulled the dictionary out. Asinine.
And it's like I said, it doesn't deserve like that just because you are watching college sports past college does not mean you just haven't grown up.
Yeah, that's dumb. Dumb tweet of the week there. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening to this episode. If you liked this, or if you didn't like, still comment, still like the post, still like our page, go subscribe. Hate is still publicity. It's fine. We don't care. That pretty much does it. So we'll see you guys.
Doesn't cost anything to hit a subscribe button.
It does. It actually costs a little bit of time and effort, a little bit of blood, sweat.
It doesn't cost money, Doug. That's what I'm saying.
Whatever. All right. See you guys. Peace.